All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I want you to look up here at my board. If you will look, you will see 4 different columns. And in each one of these columns, I have the 4 different sounds that we've talked about the last several weeks, okay? The first group we have is the double O sound. And what does double O say? It has 2 sounds. Who can review me? Who can remind me, what does double O say? Gia, what's one thing that double O says? Ooh, like hoop or a hula hoop, right? So that's the first sound that double O makes. What's another sound that double O makes? Abigail? Yeah, you're right. It says ooh, but it also says like look. Okay, so we're going to review. I'm actually going to give you a sentence today, and you're going to have to fill in the blank of what goes with it. You remember the other day how we did the riddles? And you had to listen and think of the word that made that sound? That's what you're going to have to do today. You're going to have to fill in the blank, and it's going to be one of these sounds, okay? So we got to know the sounds that 2 O's make so we know what we are going to be filling in our blank with. All right, let's review this sound. What does OU say? Ow. Good. Like ouch. Like you hurt yourself. So OU says ow. So we're going to work on that sound today. The next sound we have is OI. Oh, raise your hand if you can tell me what OI says. Hadley. Oi. Good job. Can you give me an example of the word oi? What word would say oi? Remember, it can say oi in the beginning, oi in the middle. It can even say oi at the end. Spelled a little different, but can you tell me? Gibson. Oink. There you go. A pig says or makes an oink noise, right? So oink or oi is our sound, okay? So we have oo and we have ow, we have oi, and our newest sound is AW. Everybody make the sound that AW says. Aw. Very good. Like you saw something with your eyes or you cut something so you saw it in half. Okay. Another example would be what?
Like if you're saying aw because the animal's cute.
Oh, yeah. So you're saying, aw, that's so sweet. I love that puppy. Yeah, that would be another example of AW. And we've talked about AW can be at the beginning, middle, and end of words as well. So what I've got is my piece of paper that has my sentences on it. I'm going to read those to you, okay? And then I want you to just listen because here's the thing. You don't know what sound I'm going to say. It's not going to be in order. So you're going to have to listen and think, what word is going to fill in the blank and make sense? But also it has to make one of these sounds. If it doesn't make one of these sounds, then it's not going to make sense in the sentence, okay? And I'm going to write the word under it, whichever column it goes under, and then we're going to actually count the sounds of the word, okay? Here we go. You ready? The first sentence says, the part of the body you use to speak is your, blank. What do you think would fill in the blank there? What word? And then we're going to talk about what sound it says. Let me say that again. The part of the body you use to speak is your blank. What do you think, Sam?
Mouth.
Mouth. Anybody agree? I agree with him. Very good. So, Sam, I need you to tell me which sound you hear in mouth. OU. I agree with him. I hear mouth. Now, before I write ow for mouth, okay, I want us to tap mouth. And I want us to see how many sounds we hear. We ready? So I want you to tap it with me. Here we go. Ow. How many sounds do you hear? 3. Oh, my goodness. But I want you to see how many letters are in this word. You watching me? What's the first sound we hear? What's the second sound we hear? Ow. But 2 letters make the ow sound. OU. Ow. Oh, what's the last sound we hear? Yeah, and we know TH says th or the, but this time it says th. So we have, let's count how many letters. You're right, it is a digraph. Let's count how many letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my goodness. 5 letters, but only how many sounds? 3. Isn't that cool that we can have many sounds in a word. Okay, you ready? Here's your next sentence. Who read my mind this morning? Who said the pig? Who did the pig thing? Okay. The sound a pig makes is... Somebody read my mind this morning. Kennedy.
Oink.
Oink. I want you to tell me, which sound do you hear in oink?
O-I.
O-I, you're right. And guys, let's tap oink before I write it up here. Ready? Let's tap oink. Ready? Oi, unk. Ooh, that one's tricky. Let's do that one again. You ready? Oi, unk. How many taps do we have? Three. 3 taps, 3 sounds. All right. Oi. Oh, look, it's at the beginning. Oi. What's the second sound that we hear in oink? It's not k. That'd be oik. There you go. In. Oi. K. The last sound. What do you think the last letter is going to be? K. Good. Oink. All right. And then there's our sound. Good. All right. Here we go. Next one. The place where you see lions and elephants is at the blank. The place where you see lions and elephants is at the blank. Zoo. Me too. I agree with her. I think it's the zoo. All right, Harley. What sound do you hear in zoo?
Double O.
But double O can say 2 sounds. Do you hear it say ooh or do you hear it say
Ooh.
Ooh, there you go. We don't say z, do we? No, that's silly. We say zoo. All right, guys, let's tap zoo. You ready? Skylar, sit up for me. Here we go. I want you to tap zoo. Here we go. Zzz. Ooh. How many sounds? 2. Oh, let's see how many letters. Harley, you are just so smart. Can you help me with it then? Okay, tell me what's the first sound you hear in zoo? Zzz. What letter says zzz? Good. Okay. What's the second sound we hear? Oh, is it
Zoo.
You're right. So zzz. Okay, you got it. No, girl, you're doing good. Keep going. So what do you hear? Ooh. What 2 letters say ooh? Double O. Good job. And we have our ooh sound right there. Do you see 3 letters? We only had 2 taps, but there's 3 letters. All right, good job. All right, we got 2 more, I think. Here we go. You have 5 toes on each blank. Ooh, got to think about this one, don't you? You have 5 toes on each. Amelia? Foot. There you go. Foot. All right, let's see how many sounds we hear in foot. Tap it with me, okay? T. How many sounds do we hear? 3. Let's see how many letters it has. All right, here we go. Amelia, will you help me? I didn't ask you this question, though. What sound do you hear in foot? What says Double O. So we've already heard the first sound double O makes, which is ooh. Now we're going to look at the other sound that double O makes, which is okay? So good. All right, I want you to tell me, what's the first sound you hear, Amelia, in foot? You hear F, okay? Second sound? Right? And so we know when we hear we put double O. And then what's the last sound you hear? T, t, which is a T. Good. So in the middle, again, we have our double O sound. So we have t. Good. All right. I bet you can't guess what the last one's going to be. Oh, let's listen and see if you can tell me the word, though. I drink milk by using a blank. I drink milk by using a blank. Grayson, I haven't heard from you. Okay, it's a good guess. Does k, p have any of these sounds? Oh, so can it be that word? So let's think a little bit harder. I drink milk, or I drink my milk by using a, think of something you might use to drink milk. Or maybe you drink milk through this. Can you think what it might be? Aislinn? Straw. That's exactly right. And I am looking for the all sound. It's the only one we haven't done. Yeah, so I'm looking for a word that says all, okay? If I tap the word straw, or let's tap it together. You ready? It does say all, but let's tap the whole word, okay? This one's tricky because it actually has a 3-letter blend. Oh my goodness, it blends very quickly, doesn't it? All. So it has 4 sounds. The first 3 just blend super quickly together. So we have 4 sounds, okay? Let's see what letters we have in straw. What's the first sound we said? S. St. Oh, here's that third one. St. R. So there's that 3-letter R blend that's so quick together. All right, and then the 4th sound that we hear? A-W, which is all. There we go. So we have our all sound at the end, okay? Now, the whole point of us reviewing these, guys, is for you to be able to hear each one of these sounds in the different words, but also to make sure that we can read these different sounds, because when we get to our guided reading story in a few minutes, you're going to see all of these sounds, and you're going to have to be able to read those. So it's important that we're practicing them. Speaking of practicing them, now we've had the opportunity to count some taps and some sounds. Now we're going to get the opportunity to chain some words, okay? I'm going to do our chaining board this morning, and you guys are going to get to practice reading the different sounds, okay? Now, I might even try to throw a little trick in there with you and maybe put double E. Maybe some sounds that are even further back as a review. So we'll see, okay? So if you'll take your bodies and just turn to our chaining board, and then we are going to chain some words this morning. See if you can read them. If you're in a position where you can't see, just eyes watching, ears listening, because we're going to have different sounds. And again, we tapped together this morning just now at the board, but here in a minute, you are going to do the tapping. You are going to be the one that is going to be looking at the word, tapping it to yourself, and then reading it out loud, okay? So make sure you've got your ears and eyes watching and looking. All right, here we go. First word. Here we go. Thank you. Raise your hand when you can read this word. Okay. Kennedy, what's the word? Spoon. Tell me what sound do you hear in the word that's a review from what we just did? Ooh. That double O is in the middle. Would it make sense if I were to sound this word out and say sp? Spoon. Does that make sense? No, but you know what we're learning? We're learning that if we sound out a word and it doesn't make sense, double O can make another sound. So we might check it and say, oh, that one doesn't make sense. Let me check it and see if I can sound it out with the other sound it makes and see if it makes more sense. So we have sp, ooh, so double O. Oh, good. All right, let's switch just one letter. Are you paying attention? One letter is going to change this whole word. Let's see what it does. One letter taken away. What does it make this word? Gibson. Soon. Agreed or disagree? I agree. Okay, good. So Gibson, what sound do you hear? Ooh. So we still have the ooh sound. We just took that P away. So now it's not sp. We don't have an S blend at the beginning. Now we just have S. So it says s, ooh, Good. All right, here's another one. Oh, told you I was going to try to throw some tricks at you. See if you're paying attention. Ooh, a review from a long time ago. See if you're paying attention. Geo. Seed. How do you know this says seed?
Double E.
What does double E say? Double E is going to say E. Anytime you have two E's together, it's going to make E sound. That's right. So we have S, E, D. Let me ask this question. How many sounds do I have in this word? Tap it to yourself. How many sounds do I have?
4.
Abigail, I saw you counting them. How many did you count?
3.
3. But I have 4 letters. S, E, D. Even though there's 2 letters, it only makes 1 sound. That's exactly right. So seed. All right, good job. Ready? And we'll switch it up. Sorry, guys. I keep dropping those, don't I? All right. Brand new sound. What is it? Savvy?
Loud.
How do you know it says loud?
Because the OU.
Oh. You know, if I were to tap this out on what we usually would think, d. Loud. We know that doesn't make sense when we sound out a word. So we've learned that these vowel teams, the OU says ow. So we know when we see OU in a word, it's going to say ow. So we don't have to tap it out anymore. We can say ow. So she put that together. Ow, d. Good. Loud. What does it mean if something is loud? What does it mean?
It means that like like there's lots of noise.
If I say your voice is too loud, it means we need to do what?
Quiet down.
Bring our voice levels down. You're right.
I'm
Ooh, I'm going to add 1 letter. I want you to tell me what this word becomes. This might trick a few people because you know what? This letter can say 2 sounds. Maverick, what do you think the word is?
Cloud.
Say it again.
Cloud.
Cloud. Do we agree with him? I agree, yes. Okay. Now, what sound can C say? What else can C say? Ooh, it can make an S sound, so don't let that confuse you. It's not owl. It's owl. Good. So changing 1 letter changes the whole word. We know what a cloud is. All right, let's do a couple more. I'm going to keep OU for a second, but I want you to see if you can tap the word. Here we go. What do we have? Grayson? Pout. OU. What if I took this away? Yeah, we still have the ow. We just took away the first sound. You know when we do sounds first and we say a word? We've done this. I think it was last week we were taking away the beginning sound. We would say a word and then we would take the beginning sound away and you see what's left? That's exactly what we just did here. Okay, we took the p away, so now we see what's left of the rest of the word and it's out. All right, here we go. What about this word? I'm going to put a digraph in it. What does this word become? Go ahead, Hadley. Shout. What does it mean to shout? What does it mean? Yeah, like you're yelling or screaming. Your voice gets very loud. Another word that we just did, right? So we have shout. SH is a blend. Is it a blend? No, it's a what? Digraph. Ooh, who can remind me what a digraph is? Oh my goodness, it's been a minute since we've told the definition of a digraph. What is it, Leah?
2 letters come together to make a new sound.
Right, it's when we have 2 letters and they come together and they don't quick tap. That's what a blend does. A digraph is when we have 2 sounds and when they come together they make a brand new sound. So S by itself says S, H by itself says H, but we don't say S, H. We say a new sound which is sh, okay? So sh, ow, sound we've been talking about, shout. Good. All right, let's move on from that. Ooh, let's look at this. Ready? Let's do this word. Okay. Who can tell me what this word says? Okay. Go ahead, Sam.
Loun.
What is it?
Loun.
Loun, he says. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Okay. That's a good try. Can someone help him? I want you to think about the middle sound. Okay? What do you think the middle sound? Cameron? Lawn. Okay, you are correct. Tell me what the middle sound says. All. Yeah, guys, do you remember just doing all with straw? Hey, guess what? That's okay. We learned from silly mistakes. You know that. So straw was our word up here. Now we're doing all, but we hear it in the middle. So we have all, Now, let me ask you this. Would AW be what we call tricky? I think it would be. You know why? Because if I have A by itself, what does A say? Ah. What does W say? W. Do we say ah, w?
No.
Ah, w, n? Loun. I mean, I can't even really pronounce that because it doesn't make sense. So that's why we see that AW makes a sound together, and it says all. So we have lawn. All right, watch this. Remember, this doesn't say ow. I heard somebody say yow. Doesn't say ow, it says all. Kennedy?
Yawn.
Oh, what does it mean to yawn? Oh, Sam's doing it right now. Oh, yeah. You're yawning, you're tired. Okay, so yawn is our word. All right, what if I did this? What's the word? Do a couple more. Okay, Harley? Saw. Good job. It is saw. Okay, here we have our all at the end. Saw. Okay, very nice. All right, we're going to do one more. Okay, I want you to listen. Here we go. See what you can see. What is this word? Haven't done this sound yet. Amelia? Boil. Ooh, that was a hard one. You know why? Because when we see O-I, we think ah, I. B-ah, I-ol. Bile. So it doesn't make sense. So we have to remember that O-I says oi. Okay? So when we have b-oil, we can sound out the word and it be correct. All right? What if I did this word? This was a vocabulary word we learned. Coil. What animal did we say will coil its body up? Yeah, we said snake. So that would be a good vocabulary word for us to look at as well. And it says oi. What about this word? We did this one as a vocab word too. Gibson? Soil. Very good. All right, so we're going to stop right there because I think you've got a good grasp of this. So let's review kind of what we've done. First thing we've done is we've listened to sentences, we've tapped out sounds, and then we looked at the different review sounds that we've done throughout the entire skill book. The second thing we did was we've chained them, so you've had practice reading them, tapping them to yourself. Now we're going to put that to use when we do our reading, okay? Eyes up here. So I want to review this and show you this for just a second. I'm going to put it away, and then we're going to use it, okay? But this is our story map, okay? Remember, you've done this on your own. we have used it as we have talked about the different stories. And this is our story map that helps us know what is happening in the story. It puts the story in order, but it also tells us all the story elements that we need to know. It tells us the characters, the setting, the plot, what's happening at the beginning, the middle, the end of the story. And at the very bottom, it even tells us our lesson. What is the lesson, the moral of the story? What is it trying to teach us in these fables that we're reading? So we are going to fill this out at the end. So in order for us to do that, do you have to listen to every part of the story? You do. You have to know who the characters are. You have to know where's the story happening at. You're going to have to listen very carefully for us to write sentences for the beginning, middle, and end. And the main thing you're going to have to do is listen for what it's trying to teach us. What are we trying to learn from the story? So we'll do that at the end, but I just wanted to remind you that this is what we're going to fill out so that you need to pay attention to each part of the story, okay? So we'll do that. But first, let's go ahead and we actually have to read the story so we can understand it. So everybody should have used their little books to turn to the table of contents. We know the table of contents tells us what? What does the table of contents in a book tell us?
It always has a title.
It does. It tells us the titles of different stories that are within the whole book. Amelia, what else does it tell us? It tells us what page to turn to for each specific story, and that's what we use it for each day that we read these stories to find what page we're actually on. So I told you at the beginning of our lesson today that we were going to read the last story that's the main one for our whole class, and it's called The Fox and the Grapes. So I'm pointing to it right here with my finger. I want you to look where I'm at, and then you're going to find this, and then you're going to track over across, and it will tell you what page number to turn to. So using your finger, track across where this is in your book. Okay? And then, friends, what number is that? 54. So that's where our story is going to start today. If you'll go ahead and turn to page 54, and then we will begin. So 54. Find that quickly. All right, so before we get started, we know we always want to read the title of the story. And the title says The Fox and the Grapes, just by looking at this picture, okay? What do you think the story is going to be about? Look at the picture, look at the title, The Fox and the Grapes. What do you think it's going to be about? Gibson, take a guess. Okay? Okay, so maybe it looks like the fox is trying to eat the grapes because he's looking up at them. Sounds like a pretty good guess, seeing that the title is The Fox and the Grapes. Okay? What do you think, Abigail? Okay, so maybe he doesn't want to eat them. Maybe he wants to use them for something. Okay, it's a good thought. What are you thinking, Hadley? Ooh. Okay, so we see a tree in this picture, or it looks like it's a tree because something is higher up in the sky. So maybe the fox is having a hard time reaching the grapes. It's a good thought too. I like that. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to read it first, okay? I want you to listen. You can either track along with me and listen as I read up here, or you can use your finger as a tracker, and you're going to track along in the book. Then we will popcorn read together, and you'll get the opportunity to practice all those sounds that we've been talking about, okay? Double O, O-I, O-U, A-W. You're going to get to hear and read those sounds, okay? Remember, first time I'm going to read it so we understand and hear the story, and then you are going to practice reading it back to us, okay? Here we go. It's only 2 pages, so it'll be a quick story today. The title says, The Fox and the Grapes. A fox saw a bunch of ripe grapes that hung from the branch of a tree. I'm going to stop because I want us to talk about a vocabulary word. What does something mean if it's ripe? A fox saw a bunch of ripe grapes. Say that word? Ready, that's right. If something is ripe, it means it's ready to be eaten or picked. That's exactly right. Okay, let's keep going. The fox said, Those grapes look good. I will get them and make them my lunch. The fox stood up on his back legs, but he could not grab the grapes. You guys are really good at predicting what's going to happen in the story. Gibson said he thinks the fox is wanting to eat the grapes. Was that correct?
Yes.
It is. Hadley said she thinks he's having a hard time reaching them. Is that correct? Yeah, it just said he stood up on his his back legs, but he could not grab them. All right, let's keep going and see what happens in the story. The fox made a hop, but he could not grab the grapes. The fox ran and made a big jump, but he still could not get the grapes. At last, the fox sat down on the ground. "What a fool I am," said the fox. "I can tell that those grapes are sour. They would not have made a good lunch." Maybe you can help me. I'm a little confused. He wanted the grapes so bad, and he tried and tried and tried to reach them, and now all of a sudden he doesn't want them anymore. What do you think happened in the story? What do you think he's thinking? What do you think, Gia?
I think he can't reach the grapes, so he's going to move on without them.
You think he just can't reach them, so he's just saying, "Oh, forget it, I'm just going to move on without them." Okay, what do you think, Gibson?
How do you think it's bad because he's not reaching it?
Okay, what do you think?
Maybe he's probably changing his mind.
Changing his mind. Okay, we're going to, as we popcorn and we read again together, we're going to talk about what lesson it's trying to teach us, okay? Because this one's a little bit tricky to try to understand. So we'll, as we read and then we'll do our story map, we'll talk about that, okay? All right, here we go. I'm going to popcorn first to a friend, and we know how we popcorn back and forth to one another. And as we do, we are going to stop in each little paragraph that we read. If you see a word from one of these groups, ooh or ow, oi, or aw, I want us to raise our hand, okay? Don't interrupt someone when they're reading, but if you see one of those sounds from our review, I want you to let me know what that word is, okay? All right, here we go. First friend I want to read. Savvy, will you start for us? Read the title and just read that first part, okay? Everyone use your tracker and follow along with her. All right, go ahead.
Fox and the grapes. A fox saw a bunch of ripe grapes that hung from the branch of a tree.
Stop right there. Perfect. I see some hands. Does that mean you saw a word? You should have. You know what they do to help us remember a sound that we've done. Okay? Leah, what's the sound you heard? Aw. And the word is what? Saw. Good. Remember, friends, they bold the sounds that we talk about. So it's showing you, hey, we're not just learning the sound and then never using it. We're applying it to our reading. So that's why it's showing you, oh, look, aw. We've been talking about that. So there's a word that applies to our reading. Saw. A fox saw a bunch of ripe grapes that hung from the branch of the tree. Savvy, will you popcorn to a friend?
Popcorn Gibson.
All right, Gibson, here we go.
The fox said, "Those grapes look good. I will get them and make them my lunch."
Oh, stop right there. I see two words. Do you see any words that say our review sounds? Okay, Cameron, what's one?
Good.
Good. What sound do you hear? G, d. So it's double O. What's the other sound, Maverick? L, k. Good. So both sounds say double O. All right, let's keep going. Popcorn, please, Gibson.
Popcorn.
All right, Leah.
The fox stood up on his back legs, but he could not grab the grapes.
Very nice. Okay, can anybody tell me another sound that you hear from our review sounds? Let's go. Kennedy, do you see the word? Remember, they have it bolded for us. You don't see a word in this little paragraph? Grayson, what do you see? You know, it does say but does it say o? We're going to talk about that word in just a second. What's the word that we see that's our word? Go ahead. Try to read it. I know you're looking at it. Try to read it. What does it say? There you go. So double O says Now, let's go back to what, I can't remember who just said that. Who just said, oh, it was Grayson. He said, well, could. It does say but let's look at the word, and I'm glad you pointed that out because we need to talk about why the words are underlined, okay? The words are underlined because what are they reminding us about? Tricky. Yeah, they're reminding us of those yellow tricky words, okay? He's right. Grayson is right. Could does say but it's being tricky because we've learned that OU says ow. But in the word could, it's being tricky. That's why it's a tricky word that we've practiced, okay? Same thing for my. It's underlined. The Y is saying I. Same thing for from. That O doesn't say its normal sound it says So it's tricky. All right, let's keep going. Turn the page. Remind me who my last reader was. Leah, okay, will you popcorn to a friend? And I'm going to let him read 2 sections. All right, Sam, here we go, bud.
The fox made a hop, but he could not grab the grapes. The fox ran and made a big jump, but he still could not get the grapes.
Oh, excellent reading. All right, stop right there. Friends, do you see any review sounds? Ooh, ow, oi, aw. Do we see any? Gibson, you see one? I don't see any. I'm looking right here. You're right. Could is a sound that we've talked about, but it's that word we just talked about. It looks like it could have a sound. It says It does have OU, but OU says ow. So it's another tricky sound. Yeah, they've underlined it twice to remind us that it's a tricky word. But no review sounds that we've talked about. There's no bolded sounds, so we're going to move on, okay? All right, thank you, Sam. Will you popcorn to a friend?
Popcorn. Abigail.
All right, Abigail, here we go. Tap out the sounds. Tap out your sound. At last, the fox Tap it out. What does S say? S. Ah. So at last, I need you to read loud and clear for all to hear. At last the fox sat. There you go. Stop right there. Do you guys see the word ground? What sound do you see in the middle? Ow. O-U. Grr. Ow. And. Ground. At last, the fox sat down on the ground. Here's the part where we need to pay attention. He's tried and he's tried and he's tried to reach these grapes. Has he been successful? He hasn't been successful. So here's where his mind is starting to change. And I want you to see what he's thinking, okay? Abigail, will you popcorn to a boy? Last one. Quick, quick, quick. Cameron, here we go.
What a fool I am, said the fox. I can tell that those grapes are
I want you to sound that out. S. What does OU say? Ow. Sow. Put the R at the end. Mm-hmm. Very nice. All right, friends, I want us to look at the last paragraph right here before we talk about the lesson. Let's look. There's 3 words that they have bolded for us. Isaac, can you tell me one word they have bolded? I don't see that as a word that's highlighted. Look for a word that's bolded. Okay, that's not bolded. Hadley, can you tell me a word that's bolded? That means it's really dark. What is it? Full. There you go. So, full. Okay? What does it mean if something is being a fool or foolish? What does that mean? Maverick, what does it mean? What a fool I am. Okay. Add to that. Maybe tricked. Someone's being foolish or acting foolish. A lot of times we see that they're acting in a way that's not good, right? So right here it says, "What a fool I am." It just means I'm just not being what? What do you think he's saying? I want you to tell me. What do you think he's saying? What a fool I am. I can tell that those grapes are sour. So it means like I'm not thinking clearly. What am I thinking? I'm not thinking like I should be thinking. Really, he's making an excuse. Have you ever really tried something and then like, forget it, I can't do it. And you do what? Give up. That's what the fox is doing here. He is giving up because he has tried and tried and tried. He cannot reach the grapes. So instead of just saying, "Oh man, I tried my hardest, I'm going to stop," he makes an excuse of why he's quitting. And let's see why he quits. Or not why he quits. We know why he quits, because he can't reach them. But the excuse he makes about the grapes, okay? But we have fool. Let's go back to these words before we see his excuse. What about this word? Ow. The OU. Ow. What about good? Okay, so we see those bolded words. So let's see the excuse he makes for giving up. I can tell those grapes are sour. They would not have made a good lunch. So he makes the excuse of, those grapes probably wouldn't have been any good anyways. They're going to be sour. They wouldn't have even made a good lunch. So because he couldn't reach them, he was like, I don't want those anyways. Okay, so kind of just giving up and really kind of pouting, saying, those wouldn't have been any good anyways. So we're going to talk about in just a second when we do our story map, the lesson. What is it teaching us? Okay? All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your book, close it, and I want you to put it behind you so you are not tempted to open, touch, flip pages, be looking through, because I want you to help me. Okay? We're going to pretend like you're the teacher now. Miss Harden's just the writer. Okay? You're going to be the one that's in charge of putting the story in order, telling me who the characters are, where the setting is, what's going on in the story, okay? All I'm going to do is flip my board around and we are going to put this in order. Are you ready? All right. Teachers, first thing that we have to do when we are looking at a story is to tell the what? The name. The title of the story. What's the title? The Fox and the Grapes. So I'm going to write that. The Fox and the Grapes. Now, friends, I want you to really pay attention, because tomorrow we are going to continue with our planning, with our draft, and with our edit part. If you remember, I'm going to take this down so you can see it for just a second. But we've been practicing this through the whole Skills 3 unit. We've talked about planning. We've talked about our draft. We've talked about our edit. didn't we do this the other day with our letters to Santa? We planned. We thought about what we were going to say. Then we drafted it, remember putting it on notebook paper and then fixing the mistakes that we made and edited it and then made it the way we wanted it to be so it was perfect? Okay, same thing. We're going to use this. This is our planning stage. This is our story map. So getting all the main parts down today. And then tomorrow we're going to be using this to draft it. We're going to write about it on regular paper and then we're going to edit and we're going to fix our mistakes. Do we have capital letters, spaces, end marks, all those things we've talked about with writing, okay? So this is really important that we get our planning down correctly so that when we start doing our draft and our edit tomorrow, we've got all the right information, okay? So eyes up here, make sure you're looking and listening, okay? All right, tell me, we've got the title, who? The next question we ask is who? Who? Who what? Who are the characters? Who's the characters in the story? Okay, so today we don't have many people to name. We just have one main character, and it's Fox. Good. So I'm just going to write Fox to make sure we have our character, okay? Let's go to the next box. Where? What does it mean by where? Setting. Where is it at? Okay? So where's it at, Harley?
Maybe in the forest.
Okay. In a forest. Does it say the forest? I don't think it says the forest, so let's don't put forest because that might be a little deceiving. But you're right, it probably could be in a forest. That's where usually foxes live. Okay? Where is it at? Let's be more specific than just outside, though. We know it's outside. Foxes live outside. So let's be a little more specific besides that. Think about the pictures. If I were to use one of my storybooks like you had, and I were to flip to this page right here. Yeah, they're outside, but give me a little more detail than that. Amelia, what are you thinking? Oh, near a, you know what I'm thinking? Instead of putting near the woods, let's put near a, what was he standing beside where the grapes were at? Oh, yeah. So let's put near a tree, okay? That sounds good to me. That gives a lot more detail. So near a tree. All right, so we've got three main parts so far. We have the title, we have who the main characters are, and the last thing we have here for that third box is where they're at. Those are important details for us to know when we're doing our writing. Now, the next three parts are just as important, though, because we have to write what's happening in the sentence. And remember, we always want to put a story in sequential order. Gibson, put that away. We want to put the story in order as it happened. So that's why we have beginning, middle, end to put it in order, okay? Who can tell me what is something that happened at the beginning of the story? Okay? Leah, tell me what's happening.
In the beginning, the fox saw the grapes and he wanted to eat them for lunch.
Man, she listened so well to that story. I love what she said. I think I could probably write exactly what she said. And you know what I love that she did too? She said at the beginning. So she even told when it was happening. So I'm going to write that. I'm going to write at the beginning, Fox saw grapes. He wanted for, what did he want them for? Yeah, good. Okay. So I have just a quick sentence that tells what's happening. Did I give every little detail? Did I say he walked up to the tree, he looked up, he saw the did I have to tell all that? No, we just want a quick sentence that tells what happened at the beginning, and it was, at the beginning, Fox saw grapes he wanted for lunch. That's a great first sentence to use. Okay, let's think about now what happened in the middle. What happened in the middle of the story? What did he keep doing? Gibson, what did he keep doing? Okay, so he kept trying to reach the grapes. Was he successful? No, he wasn't. So let's think of how we want to write that in a sentence. Like Leah had a sentence starter right here at the beginning. What do you think we could put for the middle? We don't want to say at the middle. Maybe. So let's say maybe, what do you think we could say? So we said at the beginning. Maybe in the middle we could say in the middle of the story. Okay. Could we say, do we have to say in the middle? Could we just say, the fox continued in the story to get the grapes or reach the grapes, but was not successful? Something like that. Let's put it in your terms. Let's say, the fox tried many times. Let's just say that. Many times to reach the grapes, but could not get them. Okay? Sounds good to me. So now we have to write what happened at the end. Okay? I want you to think, how did the story end? That very last paragraph. Let me read it to you again. What a fool I am. Oh, let me tell you this part. At last the fox sat down on the ground. What a fool I am, said the fox. I can tell that those grapes are sour. They would not have made a good lunch. How does the story end? Is the fox still hungry?
No. Yes.
Did he get the grapes?
Nope. He gives up.
Gives up. What do you think, Amelia? I like how your hand's raised. He was mad. That's why he made that excuse, didn't he? They're probably just sour anyways. Okay? So I did hear someone say he gave up. So maybe we could write, you know how we wrote at the beginning? Maybe we could write for the end, we could say at the end, the fox what? Gave up. And what? Didn't say he walked away. He said the grapes were sour. So yeah, we could write that. That would be a good sentence. So in the end, or at the end, in the end, fox gave up and said the grapes were sour. All right, the important part I want us to hear today, and this is always hard for young kids, is to find the moral of the story, the lesson. Okay? What is it trying to teach us? It is trying to teach us something, but what? And that's a lot for your little brains to think about, okay? So I want you to think if you were the fox. Put yourself in a real life situation, okay? You're really trying to get something. Whether it's you're really trying to practice for your soccer game and you're just having a really hard time. Or whether it's you are trying to work on those sight words at home and there is just a few words that just keep tripping you up. You're just really getting frustrated with them, okay? What do you think you need to keep doing? What do you think it's trying to teach us here? Aislinn, what are you thinking? Okay, I like that. Gibson, you want to add to that? Okay. Keep adding to that. Go real quick. Don't give up. Do we always get what we want? No. And you know what? Did the fox get what he wanted? No. But instead of continuing to go and persevere, he gave up. So I think there's really two things we could learn here. I think we could learn don't give up, but I think we could also learn we don't always get what we want. Because we can try and try and try. Does that mean we're still going to get it? No. Okay? So I really think there's two things. Right here I'm going to write the lesson is we don't always get what we want, because that's exactly what happened to the fox. We don't always, sorry guys, it's real small here. or we don't always get what we want. Now, we use this today to help us plan for our writing for tomorrow. Now, this is so important, and we've learned this so many times when we do this writing, that if we'll do the hard part and the hard thinking right now, today, when we go write it on paper, we've already got what we need. It's just using this and writing it on real paper, okay? So if you'll think hard at first, it's going to make the writing part easier when we go to put it on paper, okay? All right, we're going to stop right there. I'm super proud of you for listening. I know today we didn't get a lot of up and down. We were doing a lot of review things. So I'm really proud of you for doing that, okay?